Hello and welcome to this tutorial for LEGO Harry Potter Years 1 through 4. In this video we are covering the lesson Immobilus. So this lesson always starts right after finishing Mandrake handling. At the end of this lesson you want to leave this room for the greenhouse, with Harry on the Wingardium Leviosa spell and Ron on the pet spell. And leave the room here, and that's because immediately right here we're going to do a wrong warp. There's a couple of ways of doing this wrong warp. The first way, which is kind of the safer way of doing it, is first things first, you hit Ron to put his wand away, and then jump up here, and you kind of want to be on the edge of this kind of object here. You don't want to go too far forwards, you just want to be kind of right on the edge. And then do a pet warp from here, so target Ron with Wingardium Leviosa, and put the pet out kind of as the Wingardium Leviosa animation is about to hit. And Ron gets a wrong warp there. We can then show that again. But this time, if we do it the quicker way, you don't need to put the wand away. Instead, you want to get Ron right onto the top of this flower here. You kind of want to jump him on straight away. Just onto this kind of top left corner of it. And you see he kind of starts sliding down. When he's at the top, you want to be able to use this pet warp ability. So if we put Ron about there, target him with Wingardium Leviosa, and there we go, we get the warp off that kind of smaller plant. That method's a lot less consistent, but it is a little bit faster because you don't have to hit Ron the first time. But then what you do once you've completed that wrong warp, you spawn about here, make your way over to here. If you've done the plunger strats previously, this is where they come in. The plunger strats was something that was set up all the way back in Lumos Solem in year 1. If you did those in year 1 and kind of spawned this plunger and made this fountain stuff work, then instead of getting rid of this mandrake, you could just walk through the door like so. And you can walk through the door with the plunger, you push that student back, and you go into the next room. If you don't do that, you have to do that room casually. And you can't do the wrong warp to be able to get there and save time with it. It's slower if you do that wrong warp. This room here, move with player 1, nice and simple. Next room, move with player 2, and on this room you want to get Ron onto Lumos, because we are going to do a trick which will come up a lot during the later portion of the run. It's not used at all in year 1, but basically we need to get up to the classroom level. Normally there's a mandrake blocking your way over here. And what you have to do is you have to go all the way over to the far side where Filch is walking down. Now, you can see there's a wardrobe at the top of those stairs. That's where you'd normally have to go to be able to skip that entire thing. Sorry, to be able to remove the mandrake and then walk up the stairs normally. But instead what you can do is you can do what's known as DADA jump. And the way DADA jump works is most of the time we use player 2 for it, because player 2 spawns closer to this door. But you can Lumos jump up onto this object here. And I actually got it that time, but what you want is then to be able to have another jump and kind of have a buffer jump at the top here. There's a couple of methods to doing it. What a lot of people like to do is kind of run into the wall, drop the input, jump, and then hold the input after a certain time. Like so. What I tend to do is a little bit different, but I tend to like spin around from here to be able to get the jump up. And that works just as well. Basically, this object, although it looks pretty flat, it actually has a couple of different heights to it. So you can see when I let go of inputs, Ron kind of slides down a bit before then falling properly. And you want to make sure that Ron's jumping from kind of the higher bit. But if he jumps straight from the higher bit, there's actually a bit of collision above him, which kind of pushes him out, which means he can't get the jump he wants. Or it just acts like a ceiling, as you can see a couple times. So what you want is to actually either use the sliding to be able to get the jump up, or to be able to spin around in time that you kind of go far enough away from the collision, and then far enough forward so that you can just get that kind of buffer jump on the collision at the top. Yeah, it is important to note for this that I am also doing a buffer jump. So it's kind of single jump. Either way, it's single jump, releasing jump, and then re-holding it again. And that basically means any frame I'm in contact with a jumpable floor, I'll be able to get the jump. But yeah, with that done, head into the lesson itself. If you were playing in no cut, you have to wait for about a second or two before skipping this cutscene, because otherwise an animation plays. As it is, I'm playing in standard, so I don't have to wait for that. So the first phase of this section is pretty straightforward. You see the pixies always stand in the same spot here. So what I do with player 1 and player 2 is position them where they're positioned now on top of these kind of two tables here. And then all you do is that both characters are automatically selected on the Immobilus spell. So you can just spam the B button with both characters. And you see you're able to consistently hit all of them. First phase, nice and easy. Second phase is where RNG is introduced. You have to deal and react a little bit with the RNG. But the best way to consistently start is right at the end of this first phase. I'm going to jump both Harry and Ron forwards onto the desks in front. And make sure they stay up there. And that just means you can deal with things a bit easier. So, like so, and they've both landed on the desks in front for the next cutscene. And then for this section, again, it's just about spamming B, but you've got to react to where the pixies go. So you see now what I can actually do is move Harry forwards just to deal with this last one. Sometimes Ron will need to turn to the right to be able to deal with one. Or hopefully, you know, none of them end up behind you, but it is a possibility that it can happen. But yeah, that's how to do this lesson. This is quite a complex lesson. There's a lot of elements to it, and it's a big time save or time loss. Depending on kind of how it goes in a run. So yeah, I'm going to show you what it looks like now if you did it a little bit faster. Okay, so doing this again, but doing it a bit faster this time. Leaving the room with player 2, and then immediately going to start hitting Ron, and then getting the wrong warp here. Jumping on the plunger straight away. And making your way over here. And just pushing the student out the way. The route you have to take is kind of semi-important there, because you need to make sure that you basically run into as little students as possible, because they slow you down a bit. And then we come in here, do the DADA jump. I'm going to do my kind of spinning around version of it. And there we go, get it first try, and then enter the room itself. When you're playing in no cut, what you do now is just wait a minute and then skip the cutscene. You only need to wait a little bit, but it actually saves 2 seconds to wait a bit. Because otherwise, there's an extra animation. You don't need to do it for the second time. So that's okay. And then I'm going to leave Harry alone to deal with that one. And there we go, we complete the lesson. So yeah, it's a short lesson, but it's quite intense in terms of what you need to be able to do with it. So thank you very much for watching. And I will see you in the next video.